Hello everybody, welcome back to The Pride's Fall. This is our little section where we do some D&D horror stories. My name's Andrew, I'll be your narrator. I'm also the DM over for the Queen's Rooks, our actual play live show. So remember, if you like this and you want to see something that's not quite as horrible, go ahead and check us out over there. We'd really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But with that, let's go and get started. You may notice that we have a little bit of a different set dressing for this one. That's because we're dealing with an actual witch. Today's story comes from r/D&D Horror Stories, the time I ended a relationship and destroyed a group by doing little to nothing on accident. Start post. Hey everyone, longtime reader, first time poster. Recently with the whole Corona situation, I've been playing a ton of D&D online, which has led me to think a lot about my past with D&D. I've been DMing since I was 16. I have actually only been a player in 2 campaigns that went more than 2 sessions. The first was an amazing campaign done by a friend of mine who made basically a whole new world with literally thousands of years of written lore. He pretty much wrote a novel about the world we were in, and it was awesome. The second one, however, was one of the worst experiences in my D&D life, and it all started on Reddit. So, about a year ago, I'd been looking for some new online friends to play D&D with. None of my friends liked DMing, and I was getting burnt out on it myself, and I wanted to play as a player for once. So, I went to Reddit and managed to find a group to join. On the surface, it was a bit odd, as I had to apply, but I was quickly informed that this was just to weed out people who were barely literate, since this was going to be over text and people were particularly intolerant, as one of the members was gay and that caused problems in her previous group. I understood and agreed, passing the first test easily, as it was just a yes or no test about not being a dickhead basically. The second test was a bit odder, as my interviewer, a female, wanted to RP a slice of life session with her to make sure that I was good enough, a writer I guess. I agreed, still not seeing any red flags that were pretty clearly there, and did it. It was fairly normal, minus 1 or 2 times she tried to make it somewhat sexual, which I shut down as I really wasn't interested. Regardless, I was told I passed, and I was let into the group. I was pretty excited to get in and get to playing. So I rolled my character, a human cleric, that day, even though the first session was a week away. As I waited, I also got to know the group. There was the person who interviewed me, who we'll call Sam, the DM, Sam's friend, who we'll call Kate, and Sam's boyfriend, who we'll call Dave. They were all pretty cool, but also a little bit off. Dave was super nerdy and awkward, but was an alright guy. Kate was very into anime, would occasionally send Nyans. I don't even know if I'm actually saying that right. Nyans with messages, and the DM was super chill, but just seemed to be a little bit off. But Dave, Kate, and the DM were all normal compared to Sam. What I didn't realize at the time, but now know, Sam was a total psychopath. During the first session, she DMs me and starts flirting with me, and not subtly. Now, keep in mind, we really haven't spoken much, and all she knows about me is that I like D&D and I'm a guy. I didn't even tell her my real name. I brush it off and keep playing, ignoring her DMs and hoping that she will just move on. Things get worse though, when she, during the course of the campaign, makes a point to belittle and attack Dave while praising me. For example, during an encounter, Dave rolled a nat 1 and failed to kill an enemy that was on low health and was focusing Sam. Since I moved next, I attacked it and killed it, which led to Sam chastising Dave for not protecting her and calling me her white knight. I kind of brushed it off because it didn't really seem to bother Dave, Kate, or the DM, who actually knew Sam, so I figured maybe just how they joked around. The rest of the session goes pretty normally, with Sam repeatedly DMing me flirtatious messages, say that 5 times fast, about the campaign, which I ignore. When the session ends, we all thank the DM and agree to meet up next week. Only Sam keeps messaging me. Eventually, I decide to be best to nip this in the bud and just tell her I'm not interested. I tell her that I'm already in a relationship and that I'm not really comfortable with the flirting, but that I would love to be friends with her. She takes it pretty well and agrees that it was inappropriate, but also asks me not to tell Dave. I reluctantly agree on the condition that she tells him herself. The next couple of sessions are pretty normal. Although the flirting stops, Sam keeps chastising Dave's character and flirting with mine. Although Dave and Kat seem to be good sports about it, with the 2 of them even joking about having their characters set hours up. I mostly ignore it. Besides, my character is basically a celibate monk, so I consider it to be ribbing about that. The one session it gets particularly bad. Dave's character is a stereotypical edgy knight. We had just taken down a camp of cultists, and Kate suggests that we interrogate them. But Dave, acting fully in character, says he wants to torture them to get the information, to which my lawful good monk disagrees. Sam, despite being true evil, decides that she's going to side with me and proceeds to unleash a torrent of insults against Dave and Dave's character. The kind of stuff that would make a nun blush. After she's done, Dave says that he's done for the day, and we all agree to take a break for now. I DM Dave about an hour later and ask him if he's okay. I also DM Kate and the DM, asking them if this is a usual thing, and what they think we should do about it. All of them tell me the same thing. It's okay, don't worry, and don't get involved. Reluctantly, I let it go. The next day, however, I wake up to a series of messages from Sam, the first couple telling me that she loves me and she wants to be with me, that she sent a 9 to 10 paragraph long, one-sided, sexually explicit explicit RP between our characters, and then she sent me a series of nudes of someone who she claims was her, which I frankly don't really believe. I tell her that I'm seriously not comfortable with any of this and to stop messaging me privately. At this point, I'm also considering leaving the group, but she apologizes and tells me she was off her meds. I tell her I'm still not comfortable with us DMing, and she says she'll stop. About an hour later, I get another DM from her, this time telling me that she told Dave about us, and now he's threatening to kill her and that she has nowhere else to turn. I tell her I'll talk to Dave and that he seems like a reasonable guy, and that if she is scared, she should call the police or tell someone who can help, given that I wasn't even in the same country as her. I DM Dave and ask him what's going on. He says he doesn't know what I'm talking about, so I explain and he doesn't respond for a while. Then about an hour later, he tells me that he just broke up with Sam and that this was the first he had heard about any of this. Meanwhile, Sam starts messaging me talking about how now that Dave's out of the way, it can just be us together and that I'm the true alpha. This is the opposite of true. I tell her that I'm not interested, but she thinks it's part of some act. She tells me that she was only dating Dave to make fun of him and to use his money. As this is going on, Kate starts messaging me calling me a homewrecker, and Dave sends me an extremely long message that I could classify as an incel manifesto. Finally, I decided to block all three of them, and I message the DM that I'm out. Interestingly enough, when I tell him that, he says he doesn't actually know any of these people, and that Sam was secretly paying him to DM. He thought they were all pretty weird too, but the money was good, and they mostly left him alone. Anyways, that's my D&D story. TLDR, I joined an online group, was harassed by a crazy girl, which led to a total group meltdown. During this, I was thinking about where I should, pause, give some commentary, but the more it kept going on, the more I realized this is not a D&D horror story. This is just a regular horror story that happens to be during D&D. Sam's nuts, and if you have anybody that is talking to you this way, they're sending you explicit messages, you ask them to stop, all that type of stuff, you do not and should not put up with it. In this case, it's lucky that OP was somewhat defended here, in the sense that they didn't need to worry about knowing this person in real life, but that does not make what Sam did any less bad. Whether or not they were actually on or off their meds, frankly, doesn't matter. Don't talk to people like this, even if it's some random guy on the internet you don't know. Harassment is still harassment. And really, I think that's the moral we're going to take away from this one today. At the end of the day, just don't harass the people at your table, or people in general. I think that's a pretty safe rule to go by. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening in. And if you could, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next time.